Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to SRW TV. Tonight it's round 3 of our American invasion for the V8 Radicals series. It's Cowie, your average sim racer here, together with Chef Toddy on comms and Nathan Shibby Howard behind the scenes, looking after the cameras for tonight's action. After another long haul, the cars have travelled over 800 miles to get to Barber Motorsports Park. Will the teams have enough energy to get the job done tonight? What do you think, Toddy?
Oh, mate, it's a very rolling track. There's a couple of spots on this track that can really catch you out, and there's a couple of spots that you can really rack up a couple of X's and a couple of penalty points around this track pretty easily if you're trying to push it to the limit. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how these guys handle these radicals around this track, eh, Kelly?
Oh, it is quite a technical track. Quite demanding, as you said, sort of those elevation changes, the chicane at turns 7 to 9, you sort of dip right down through it. And, it's a key to getting a good exit, I suppose. And these cars, as the drivers have said, it's all about getting on the power as early as you can without any wheel spin. I suppose that's the key to most cars, but it seems to be very prominent, these things.
Yeah, 100%. And that last section of turns, especially when you come up to that penultimate turn, all those corners leading up to that are very, very crucial, because they're the sort of points on Barber Motorsport Park that you can be too cautious. If you're too cautious around there and you have too much brakes, you can lose a lot of time around there, and that's when people can really basically bank on the fact that they can take you on the straight. So you really need to be on your haunches and make sure that you're kind of defending justly, but at the same time keeping your car in the right spots on the track, because there's a couple of bumpy spots also on this track, as you know, Cowie, that can really send especially the radicals off in a very different way, I suppose you'd say.
Look, buddy, it's one of those tracks that should be quite fun to watch. We were on board before there with Scott Callahan. It's great to have Scott back with us, having a look at Matty Jones, our round 2 winner, Scott, our round 1 winner. So Matty is ahead of him in the championship at the moment because of his P2 in round 1. But it's great to have Scott back, and already he's shown that he's on the pace. He did a 1:15.6 in practice, and that's about the 4th fastest time ever in iRacing for this track and that car. So already
world record pace.
Already on the pace. So we'll see if we've had one world record, or unofficial world record, broken in round 1 by Matty Jones. So perhaps there's another one on the cards tonight. These two guys have really shown that they're the cream of the crop at the top, and it's good to have them both battling again.
Yeah, most definitely. I think as we just came through that that hairpin as well, that's a hairpin that can take you by surprise, because if you're in traffic a little bit and you miss your braking point into that hairpin slightly, you can take it so far out, even a couple, even 1 meter out to the right hand side, too far out in that hairpin can give you a really rubbish exit out of that hairpin, and you can lose 1 or 2, 3 positions right there if you don't get it right, and that can just be a split second. If you're caught in traffic and if you just miss it by, even if you miss it by a millisecond, and I've driven Barber Motorsport now quite a bit in quite a few different cars, and those are the points that, especially that chicane as well, we might see a bunch of people get a bit too randy over the top of the chicane there too, hey Cowie? It's easy to get sideways.
It's going to be quite an interesting night. I think you're going to again see a lot of action out there on track. It was with David Unger. So David currently sits P2 in the championship at the moment, with 2 solid results in the first couple of rounds. It was a P3 and then a P2 last week. And as I think we mentioned last week, that David said he's been driving these cars for about 10 years in iRacing, and they're his favourite machines. So, we're expecting that consistency, and so far he hasn't let us down.
Yeah, and it was interesting, hey, because we saw a massive improvement towards the end of the season with Dave Unger. And then at the start of this season, round 1 had an absolutely amazing round 1. Had a great round 2, and now he's coming to round 3, and and through round 3 and all the rest of it, he basically with those, as you were saying with the post race chat saying that how much he really loves his cars. So he's definitely one to watch, and he definitely let the cat out the bag, didn't he, Cowie?
Look, he's already down into the 16s, so it's Scott Callahan, Matty Jones, and David Unger, the 3 drivers under 1 minute 17. And as we said, Scott did a 15 in practice, already into the 15s, just with a 1:15.975. So already as the fuel's starting to come out, these guys are making the most of some clean air and really pushing hard.
Yeah, these guys seem to. It seems like these boys, even though they're running quite fast times at the moment, they might have been revving these cars out a bit more than they should have. So they might they seem to be coming into their own a little bit more. Matty Jones with a nice purple sector, but then he's got an orange sector there as well to back it up. So not all that good a performance along there, but these guys are super stupid quick. Like, we've got a top 10 under the 120s. Like. 1 minute 20s, which is crazy fast in these things, man. Honestly, like especially around this track, there's a lot of undulating. There's a lot of bumps on this track that can really send your car sideways. So, and a lot of spots on this track that can take you by surprise.
On board, having a look at. There's Steve Brown. Steve had a bit of an up and down race last week. I think finished 4th or 5th, if I remember correctly, and was in a good battle there with, I think it was Stephen Callahan there at the end of the race, which was great to see. So hopefully Stephen can put on another good performance tonight and race hard, and we can reap the benefits of all the action.
Yeah. So qualifying world record, guys. Qualifying world record is a 1:16.1. Right now, we've got Scotty Callahan with a 1:15.975, but he's got more in this. He's getting the fuel out of this thing. He's just trying to ream the fuel out of this thing, get it as light as he can on the hottest tyres he can, and even smash it even further. So we've already got our top guy ahead of world record pace, and I reckon we might get Matty Jones and Dave Unger might slip under there too. I reckon they've got the pace. What do you reckon, Cowie?
Well, these boys are driving extremely well. Again, it's only qualifying early. We've got the race coming up. Remember that it's a fixed setup series, guys, so these times are getting set on a fixed setup. So, that I suppose that makes them even more impressive. Though I'd say that the guys aren't complaining too much about the setup at the moment. But remember, the car is limited fuel-wise. No compulsory pit stop, but I would say that they will need to pit for fuel to get home. And again, we may see, much like the last couple of rounds, the drivers reluctant to take tyres in that pit stop, because these tyres do take 2 to 3 laps to get up to temperature, and until then the car can be quite a handful.
Yeah, and we've heard in the past couple of rounds with the post-race interviews with these leading guys, they've all said they've never really used up that much tyres in these radicals. It's more of a fuel management than a tyre management thing, so you probably won't see these guys take that much tyre, but at the same time these guys will be definitely thinking about their fuel management a lot, and their sort of track placement to make sure that. So maybe that is why the biggest reason why they don't have to deal with the tyres that much, because they have to deal with fuel so much. So that add-on effect or that roll-on effect is that. Yeah. Sorry.
Tyres will always be a factor, because you're going to have drivers that can look after them better, perhaps not push them early, and they'll get better life out of it at the end. But I think what they're saying is that even at the end, when the tyres are getting near the end of their life, or you're getting near the end of the race, they're still drivable compared to what the tyres are like when they're cold. Yeah. So you're seeing the drivers basically saying they're not prepared to sacrifice a couple of laps when it's really sketchy in the middle of the race, they would rather stay on the rubber that they know what it's doing. And perhaps that little cool down period just gives the rubber a chance to, lower temperature, and that will increase its life again. So even the pit stop itself may well help the rubber. Have a look at Nathan Verney now. So Nathan had an interesting race last week. Managed to spin on lap 1 and fell back to, I think it was like 13th position, and fought his way back to the podium, I think it was. So
he did,
had
yeah.
a
He
good result.
third place at the end. An absolute brilliant driver.
He certainly did. And so at the moment, sitting 7th in the qualifying. Again, these boys are doing some pretty fast times up front there, and 1.5 seconds behind the leader at the moment, Nathan. But you can see now David Unger and Matty Jones have taken another further 10th out of their time, doing 16.3s.
Oh, 16.3s. Look at that. Dave Unger up in second place. I didn't even notice that. Good call, mate. That is amazing. Ahead of our Matty Jones, who set a world record in our earlier qualifying last round.
That was a round.
First round, yeah. Pretty incredible driving from all these absolutely amazing human beings. Here we go, Steven Sinkovich.
So Stephen had a rather auspicious round last week at where were we last week? We were at Kota Circuit of Americas. Yes. That's right. Where he might have racked up a few spins there in the race control report, but I know Stephen said he had a good time. It just the car was just a bit of a handful, and I don't think there's a lot of drivers that would count Kota as one of their favourite tracks.
Oh no, not their. I think they would count it as one of their least practiced tracks. Probably that's the best way we could put it, right?
Well, that's right. I mean, I think tracks like this one, Barber, and they tend to get a lot more sort of airplay, I suppose, and in the official leagues and that as well. So, and I know that I think the V8's this week are at Donington Park, so that's a track that we don't drive at very much. So it should sort the men from the boys.
Yeah, most definitely. You can always tell when those tracks come out, and then they throw a little bit of a spanner in the works, and that definitely separates the boys from the men, don't they? Yeah, definitely.
We are inside the last 10 minutes of qualifying. At this point in time, we have Scott Callahan with a 15.975, 1:15.975 in first. We have David Unger 4/10ths back with a 16.374. Matty Jones only 0.03 of a second behind that, and Scott Brown a further 10th back. So that's I should say Steve Brown. Yeah, so the top 4 all under the 117s, and Matty Skurlock has done a 17 flat as well. So again, that's the top 5 drivers all within a second of each other, and it's crazy.
Yeah, and then Stephen Callahan with the 121. When the 120, 117.25. So he's just over a 10th, just outside of that as well. So he's very, very quick. But I was going to say also with Nathan Verney also, where we had Callan Hodgkins is definitely one to watch as well. We're on board with him, but Nathan Verney as well. It kind of seems like we saw some really good improvements from him last season, but it seems like he seems to like a mid kind of, like that 7th, 8th kind of mid kind of top 10 sort of
battles where he gets that's those battles. I know I've done a little bit of racing with Callan, and he's a good battler of mid pack, much like myself.
Great racecraft too.
You can see that he's pushing hard, but we can also, I know I was given Stephen a little bit of pay out there before, and he's done an 18-1, I think, and put himself up inside the top 10. So that's a pretty good run for Stephen, sitting ahead of Callum at the moment. So we'll have to see. These boys still got 7 minutes remaining, or 6.5. So there still is time for another big lap. But
and
again,
that's one thing I do love about the Sinkovich boys as well. If you say to them, I don't reckon you can make it into the top 10, they'll prove you wrong. And that's what I love about the boys. They're like, no, I'm going to push hard enough to prove you boys in commentary wrong, which we love, guys. So come on, keep on pushing SRW, boys. Come on, Segovich. Sorry, I just need to drop that in there for you, Cowie. Sorry.
On board with Greg Johnson here at the moment. Greg's one of our drivers out there who's comes along to every round and loves sort of participating in pretty much all of our series.
Yeah, Team Greg. Beautiful. Team Greg,
indeed.
By the way, this is really, really cool. Absolutely stalwart, stalwart of our series. He's an OG, absolute master of SRW, and he's been a backbone and helping us being, just always being there and being part of the races and all the rest of it and having big battles. These guys, Greg Johnston, Greg Leake, love having battles with the Segovich boys. So it's always fun to watch these boys. So make sure you guys hit that notification bell, give us a big shout out, and give us all the love on YouTube and Facebook. And hit that notification bell so you can see us and you can watch us whenever we go live, because we've got some awesome stuff going on every night of the week. Other than Saturday, 6 nights a week, we've got everything going on all the nights of the week. And if you guys want to see us on Saturday as well, I'm sure we can organise something. So, yeah.
Of course, thanks to our major sponsor, DSL Welding Services, so that we can bring these pictures and the great league that we have going to the Masters. Also, our safety car sponsor, the Promo Department, and of course Dragonrc for their support as well. All right, we're inside the last 5 minutes. Looks like it's been fairly static at the top so far. It's been great to actually sit on board and have a look at each of the guys doing their laps. Looks like we've got Tyson McAvoy's jumped in for the race, so I think he's snuck into the league somehow. There might have been a bit of backdoor dealing with one of our commentators getting involved in the racing, but that's great to see him on board. And
that might always smatter into work. Say Tyson's fast, boys. Come on, everybody out there. Tyson's pretty fast, and he seems to be pretty fast in most things he jumps in, right, Cowie?
He does, my team captain, so he's been showing us the ropes and trying to find pace. So he's actually been taking himself out of the seat a bit of late, doing race control and commentary. He's working with Dano doing the B8 commentary for our Sunday Super Show, and that's been great. It's given me a chance to have a bit of a drive, so I've been enjoying it.
Awesome. Yeah, and it's been awesome to watch. Well done,
didn't feel like risking my health missing Mother's Day dinner, so that's why I wasn't racing last Sunday. But I know a few of the boys that were able to race obviously got permission from their mums to go out and have some fun, so that's great to see.
Yeah, exactly right. And big shout out to all the mums out there too, right, Kelly? Oh man, I've seen my mum today for the first time in like 3 years, so they're just gone to bed and all those, and I've got the night off to be able to commentate and chill out with you guys, so it's super awesome. Big shout out to all the mums. Much love, guys.
That's it. Just looking at Leon Williams as well. I know Leon had a fairly, I think a turbulent last round. Or no, wasn't he with us last round? It was round 1.
No, he was. No, he had a turbulent round last round. Oh, yeah, a turbulent round last round as well. He's just kind of.
But I mean,
with the back, but he's honestly, with those first couple of rounds, he kind of just. He had bad luck, man. He kind of just got caught up in everything and he had nowhere to go. Honestly, those first 2 rounds, he had nowhere to go, and he made some amazing recoveries from there as well. So he's one to watch, man. He's got some pace. As long as he can kind of keep out of the melee, he'll have some pace, and he's one to watch. He's one of the locked on lads boys, so you can never discount the locked on lads boys, right, Cowie?
Yes, mate. Yeah, look, I mean, it's just great to have these with us. As you said before, Toddy, we want as many guys involved in our great leagues. This is one of our, different series and one of the series that sets SRW apart. these have been quite a fun car. I know I drove them in the last series that we had, and they are awesome fun to drive. You really got to throw them in to be fast, but they are such a knife edge too, and they're a car of confidence. You get more confident until you get too confident and you throw them that little bit too harder. All right, we are inside the last minute, and it looks like things are still the same at the top. Was that Dean Sinkovich having a big moment there? So that's ended Dean's qualifying run. We are seeing quite a few of the cars now sitting in the pit lane, so there's only about 3 or 4 cars remaining out on track trying to improve their time. Looks like Steve Brown has had an off track there that lap, so he's not going to be able to get around to start a new one. I believe also that qualifying is about to end in 20 seconds and there's not much overflow time, so if you don't get it done now.
I just realised something. Our top 4 are 2/10 outside world record pace for qualifying pace around this track. That is insane for our league. But this is, if you doubt the pace of these boys in this league, this should cement everything for you guys out there watching in your mind. And these SR8s and these Radicals are a great series to get into as a precursor to your V8s and stuff like that. If you guys are new to iRacing, if you just love to watch iRacing, or if you feel like you really want to get into it and stuff like that, this is a great place to start. And SRW could never be a better place to start as well. Even if it comes down to, jumping in some practice sessions this season, and then possibly entering next season. We've got Josh Thomas from Precision Sim Training, that is an absolute legend that will that helps us with a lot of setups and a lot of coaching, etc., etc., etc. So, get on board, boys and girls. Anybody that wants to be part of SRW, and you guys can really get to know it, get to know the racing now. And if you feel like you love it, then you can always talk to us about getting further with SRW. So, sorry, Kelly, I'll hand it back to you. I was just trying to fill the gap.
Evening, Leaky. Thanks for the shout out, buddy. See you watching the YouTube stream, buddy. That's it, guys. Jump in the chat and let us know if you're enjoying the action. We will bring up the finalised qualifying grid in a moment, and we can read through and see where all of these boys have positioned themselves for tonight's race.
I'm really excited, man. As I was saying just before we went live, honestly, I'm so super excited. I'm so super pumped for that tonight. I love Barber Motorsport. I love the SR8s. I think they're just a stupid concept, really. But I'll hand back to you, Cowie, to go through the grid.
All right, so we have in pole position Scott Callahan with a 1:15.975, so the only driver under the 1:16, and a great lap time, as we said, 2/10 we believe under the qualifying record on a fixed series too. David Unger in second position, 4/10, just pipping Matty Jones by 7 or 9 thousandths of a second. With Performance Sim Racing there we have Steve Brown, only a further 8 thousandths of a second back from Matty. So those 4 guys, absolutely unbelievably great times. Michael Skurlock with the BMX Bandits in 5th position. We've got Stephen Callahan in 6th position. Nathan Burney, a good performance there, the Locked On Racing machine, in 7th. Callan Hodgkinson with Crisscross Racing in 8th. Stephen Sinkovich and Dean Sinkovich, the SRW boys, in 9th and 10th. Tyson McAvoy with Performance Sim Racing, and John McHenry Locked On Racing in P11 and 12. We've got Leon Williams with Locked On Black Sheep Racing, and Greg Johnson with Team Greg in 14th position. And that's all of us, and apparently I've appeared on the grid as well, so that is rather interesting. Pete is our race controller, and I'm a commentator. So there you go.
Beautiful. I hope you're in a McLaren, I hope. No, but
I do like driving these cars, the Radicals. They are quite a fun machine. We've got about 20 seconds, I think, for a race start, so should be awesome tonight. Let's watch the boys on the line. These cars are rather difficult to get started, very easy to get wheel spin off the line, and that's going to cost you a whole heap of positions. So
we need to do the race. We need to commentator's responsibility as well, guys. Okay, cold tires, lap one. Cold tires, lap one. You go.
All right, we have 5 red lights, and we are away. Scott Callahan has got a blistering start. David Unger has got a pretty good start as well. We can see is that Nathan Burney trying to make a move up the inside there. Oh no, we've had a moment in the back. That's Tyson McAvoy been spun around there. One of the Sinkovic boys has been spun as well, but Scott Callahan has got clear and already building up a nice gap. As the boys
tell
sort
you
of
what, those
in.
front boys, those front five place getters, absolutely blistering start, and they all had a brilliant start, and then they just pushed each other further. So it's going to be really cool to see.
They've actually been Michael Skurlock that I saw that came up the inside there on the grid, because he's got himself up into P5, and that is already up. How many positions is he up? I'm trying to bring up OSTK.
Oh. I don't know. See, they're all in their same
positions. That's right. They've
just been keeping their spots, man. They all had a lightning start. I think.
Michael
had a lightning start. J Mac and Leon Williams and Greg Johnston are up 3 spots. Unless my SDK is wrong. I apologize if I am.
All right. So, yeah, let's try and have a look at the incident there. In the bottom of the hill at turn 1 or turn 2, I think it is. So we'll just see what happened there. So a bit of wheel spin off the line there from Steve. Was that Dean Sinkovic? And Tyson has looked to make a move on Stephen as well. Yeah?
Definitely, that's what it looks like.
All right, and he's gone the inside.
Oh, no, that looks like netcode. That definitely drew those cars together. That looks like netcode.
I think Tyson sort of snapped inside there, so I don't know if that would have been something that he was in control of there, but we'll keep an in. We do have the safety car has been brought out, so race control pulling the trigger immediately, and the safety car, Promo Department safety car is out on track, and that will give Tyson and Dean a chance to sort of get onto the back of the grid there.
But these American tracks definitely lend themselves a lot more to needing a safety car, right, Kelly? I feel like the American tracks. There we go. Sorry.
Oh, so we're going to go on board, have a look and see what happened with Tyson here. I don't know if the car sort of caught something here, but it just seemed to sort of snap on him to the right. Yeah, it might have been a netcode hit that started that too. So. We'll have to see what race control's got to say about that.
Yeah, it seemed like those cars were getting glued together by something other than normal physics.
Oh, certainly possible. Certainly possible. I mean, you know, iRacing does a pretty good job at enabling sort of people of varying internet qualities and speed and places around the world to be able to race together. So, you know, so I suppose we're going to see the bad occasionally when it comes to things like that.
Yeah. You know, one thing that I really love about Blake Barber, though, is that when a safety car comes out, and if you're in a slightly compromised position or a position that you feel like you shouldn't be in, you might need to be up a couple of more positions. A safety car on Barber is an absolute blessing, because how much it brings it back up there, especially because of that hairpin. There's a lot of spots where somebody that can be 2.5 seconds behind you can make up that spot. If you make a really small mistake into that hairpin or through the chicane, they can make up that distance very, very quickly. So you're always very much looking at your rear bumper a lot of the time, or your rear vision mirror a lot of the time on this track, just to make sure that you can hold off those people behind you. But I think one of the things, what I've learned about this track is try to ignore everything behind you and just try and hit everything as hard as you can, but as smooth as you can, because if you get this line on this track slightly wrong, you're in the fence, you're in the wall, you're basically ended. Your race is ended. There's a lot of spots where it can really throw the weight distribution of the car, as we see down through here, down through this kind of undulating kind of, I suppose you kind of, it's not really a chicane, but it's undulating sort of bunch of corners. Down through there, if you don't get that nailing it up through the corner, and then if you come through this last section here and you either give it too much brakes or too little brakes, you're either going to lose a lot of time or you're going to end up in that wall or next to the pit lane. So or you can end up out here in the grass. As soon as you get any grass on the outside, you spin the car. So here we go, back live. Here we go. I'll throw back to you, Cowie. Let's go.
All right. So we're back with the action here. What the boys have restarted. Looks like we've no change at the start. So again, Scott has been able to get away to a nice sort of gap already. Matty Jones a lot closer to David Unger now, looking to make a move up the inside. Is he deep enough? No, there's plenty of room given there by Dave. Boys are racing hard, but he's not ready to give up that position on the inside for the next section. We'll have to see how brave both of them are, because these tyres still wouldn't be fully up to temperature. Look at Dave, went supremely deep there. He's cut the corner. Can he bring it up? He has kept that on track somehow.
Wow. That 10 years plus of absolute experience in these cars. I could never have saved that. I don't know
already a couple of tracks there as he's using all of the track. Looks like, again, we've had a big moment there.
Oh, that's Scotty Brown against that Younger.
And Hodgkins, I think, getting caught up in that as well, was it? No?
Steve Brown, sorry, Steve Brown just...
Steve and David Unger, so that was a massive moment there. Unfortunately for Dave, having a great battle up there with Matty Jones. And
Steve is just missed his breaking point and gone over the top of the hill. And that's what we were talking about earlier, and that's what I was talking about earlier, is that chicane is... we're
going to have a look at a DSL Welding Services action replay to see what's happened here. And see what... So we're on board with Steve at the moment. And he's gone wide here, unable to bring it up, and yeah, just went on the grass. There's no way he's stopping that. And unfortunately, David was right in the path, and that's really unfortunate for David Unger there, and that's thrown him back 11 positions. So that's horrendous. And most
but I'm
likely,
sure
it looks
there
like
was no ill intent there. It was just missed his breaking point. So.
Well, he got it on the outside there, and that would have made it very hard to pull the car up and get it turned down through the chicane there. So
you're trying to brake on grass. You're going south, right?
All right, doesn't look like race control has pulled the trigger this time, so we are still live with Scott Callahan and Matty Jones.
Dean Sengovic seems like he's got these tyres underneath him now.
Oh, he's trying to go around the outside.
It looks like he's got a lot more confidence in this car in the last couple of weeks, I reckon. What do you reckon, Gary?
Look, I think that it's going to change from track to track, because I think some of the boys, you just get into sync. That's a big dive there from Dean, but he's got it done. Well done. I even thought that Greg got out of it then a little bit earlier than Dean expected, but he did manage to navigate his way through there. Looks like is that Tyson putting pressure on Greg Johnson as well, looking to go up the inside into is that turn 4 or 5, I think. Oh, yeah, Chibi said he's got a track for us, so throw it up, buddy. That would be awesome.
Because as we know with a lot of these American tracks, they don't really, a lot of the time, have track names, so they normally just go corner numbers rather than corner names.
I think Barber's got lots of corner names there, but I've had a chance to memorise them. I mean, it's hard enough trying to work your way around this track when you're driving. A lot of the time with American tracks,
they always change them within different rounds for their thing so they can use their sponsorship in the right way. Look at Miami with Formula One last week. So yeah. Oh, good.
All right, so Tyson McAvoy now is sort of finding his feet. I would gather, by the looks of it, I hadn't seen Tyson doing any practice in this car, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's just jumped in to race tonight and he's finding his feet as he goes. You know, as you did say before, he's got pace pretty much in everything he jumps into, but it does take a little bit of time to get the hang of how to drive these machines, and unfortunately, as I proved many a time in the last season, it's very easy to go over the edge there. So it was a drive-through penalty given to Tyson McAvoy there. So he has been black flagged, so that's going to throw him back.
He's got some pace though, doesn't he?
Look, that's it. And I mean, given the nature of these cars and the sort of technical, sort of swishy nature of Barber Motorsports Park, I would not be surprised that the safety car, the promo department safety car, might be back out on track a bit later. But already we can see some sort of gaps opening up between the cars. Again, I think it's sort of one of those machines that benefits greatly from the tow. Here we go. Look at the action here. Is that this was the okay, so that's another view of what happened to David Unger and Steve Brown there. And Tyson is just serving his drive-through penalty now, so I'm sure that's not how he would have wanted to start. Steve Brown, is that another moment that's happened to Steve because he was stopped there on the track, so...
He's John Hodgkinson.
No, he's just pulled over to let the leaders through, I think. He's just getting out of the way, yep. So already a lap down, so unfortunately that damage has thrown Stephen back, and I may well say there might be another penalty coming for him with what happened to David as well. So, but we'll go back to the action here, looking at Steven Sinkovic and Dean Sinkovic, the SRW machines out there running in P7 for Dean and P9 for Stephen at the moment. So inside the top 10, having a good run of it.
Yeah, they're having a great run of it, and they've had some great, like, I don't know how these boys do it, to be honest. The Sinkovic boys running and doing all the stuff they have to do with their lives and all the rest of it, and plus SRW, plus racing as well. And these guys seem to just improve every week. It's awesome, man. They always seem to be in the top 10 every week for the last couple of weeks. You know, like they had a massive surge in improvement at the end of last season, our first season. And now season 2, man, you know, fucking beautiful.
Race Control has just said that the lap 4 incident between Steve and Brown and David Unger is under review. So Race Control are on top of it at the moment, having a look at Nathan Burney trying to chase down Stephen Callahan. These boys had a great battle last week at Kota, and looks like you know, Nathan's pretty keen to get that battle going again. You can see that he has been slightly quicker than Stephen this lap, but Stephen got a nice little jump on him, I think, after the safety car there. So only now is Nathan sort of bridging that gap and getting back up on the tail.
Yeah, I thought we'd see Nathan Burney. He has made it up 2 spots right now, but J-Mac, I think J-Mac is one of those standouts right now. J-Mac's had some really... he's one that kind of just goes under the radar.
He's done well.
John McHenry, sorry. Those to the...
Yeah, we saw him do
J-Mac, but he's up 6 spots already, and he's just been very consistent the last couple of rounds and the end
running a matrix paint there, by the looks of that. But he didn't... I think he'd be pretty chuffed with himself doing an 18-1 in quali. He'd be pretty happy with that, and currently in P6, so having a great run of it out there, J-Mac.
Yeah, absolutely.
I reckon
the industry and
he maybe needs to talk to Matty Jones, because I reckon a Mankini would look good in that car, eh?
Oh, I reckon. Or you can go with like my pit crew. All my pit crew are in like full like suits. with like lapel and the
Yeah, the suit,
flower and all the
the
rest. You know,
your
you
suit
get
look
classy
pretty
on that
good there. That's it. So that Michael Surlock running currently in P3. So Michael had a great jump off the grid and looked like he picked up 2 spots into turn 1. And since then has sort of benefited from the unfortunate thing that happened to David. And actually, whereas it's been David normally on track in front of him, also in a position in front of him, this time it's David Unger on track a lap down, so he's going to have to obey the blue flag and let the boys through.
Yeah, and Matt Skurlock, but the beautiful thing about Matt Skurlock, he's been very, very, very consistent, as well as Nathan Verney. And that's what we've seen from Nathan Verney, is this beautiful, look at this pass from Nathan Verney on the inside. Come
much
on.
better.
That's one of the hardest places to pass as well. But if you can get the launch on the exit of that corner, penultimate corner, you can absolutely launch it through there. Oh, we got Greg Johnston with a bit of a moment there.
Oh, he's quickly got around there, so hopefully that shouldn't have cost him too much. But Tyson is catching back up on him, and remember Tyson has had to serve a drive-through penalty there, so...
yeah, so that'll be in 40 seconds, right?
Oh, well, it'll be just a drive-through through the lane, so we could actually probably have a look at... Yeah. Looks like it was 22 seconds was the drive-through through the... the lane was 34 seconds. There you go. All right, so here's what happened to Greg. He's just washed out and... a bit unlucky there. I think if he hadn't...
he's gotten out of the way nicely, though.
If he hadn't have gone for the second quarter, quick stab of the accelerator there, he may have held on to that.
Yeah, it might have been a missed blip of the throttle and the downshift. By the look at that, it just set the car sideways hard.
Yeah, so it can do.
Yep.
Can be responsible for it, I suppose. It is one of those cars where you do need to blip on the shift to get it to work.
I've just found a lot in this car. My weakness in these cars is if I don't blip properly on the downshift, it goes sideways because they don't have the traction control or the ABS, etc.
Yeah,
and
that's it.
That's what I'm kind of used to driving the GT3.
Tyson managed to get past Greg, and now he's gone and put it out in the sand trap. So just remember, you're not on the golf course, buddy. You're on a racetrack. All right. So, but that machine, I must admit, is looking good. He did show me the paint. He actually did that paint up for my car and then found out I was commentating and not driving. So maybe he felt like he needs to get it out there and show it off, seeing he actually put in the effort. In my defence, I did tell him I was doing commentary this time, this season. So David Unger with a lot of work to do. So David would be hoping for a safety car, but the problem is now that I don't even know if the lapped cars will get let through. I think it's only if they're in front of the leaders. So it's possible where he's at the moment.
And I think lacking a massive mistake, these guys got enough distance between each other now. We've got an interval of 2.5 seconds there. It's probably pretty close there between 1 and 2, but from then on, you've got some fair amount of distance that nobody's in slipstream or draft, etc. So you'll see this field definitely separate a lot more, right, Kelly?
Look, again, it's a smallish field tonight. Was it 14 cars out on the track? I mean, we would love to see greater numbers here, guys. We were keeping the series open for this round. I think it might be closing before the next round. So there's a possibility you could still get on board if you want to race these awesome machines in our American Invasion series. This series, the Radicals, V8 Radicals, are traveling west to east across America. So the first trip was from Laguna Seca to the Circuit of Americas, and that was something like 16 hours of driving time. So it would have taken them at least 2 or 3 days to cover that distance. And then we've travelled a further 800 plus miles to come from Kota to Barber Motorsports Park as well. So making our way west to east across America in our big invasion.
Oh, mate, Cowie, I've got to say as well, that's so awesome. Hey, you've done the Ks to go between it. That's so awesome. You know,
I can't
it's
take
awesome
the credit
because,
for it, but
you know, it's a great
all,
journey. It's a great journey. You take us all along the journey as well. So much love, Cowie. That's so awesome.
Is it a 16 flat there from Scott Callahan? So he's saying that's a race world record, Shibby, are you? Yeah, unofficial race world record. So there you go. Again,
in race, come on.
so these boys are really showing that, you know, they've got supreme control over these cars to be fast. I mean,
that's insane. In race 2, come on, boys, come on.
They're not an easy car to drive.
Sorry.
They're not an easy car to drive, these. I mean,
No,
really, they're high aero, low weight, so they're very easy to get twitchy on you. And
100%.
it's so easy to get too much on the gas.
Downforce, but all they've got is that front splitter and that rear wing. And that rear wing, yeah, it looks big and all that, but it's only dual adjustable. Yeah, you might think, oh, you got heaps of downforce and all that. They have no rear diffuser. They have no undercarriage downforce because of the simple fact is there's nothing underneath it. It's just...
They don't weigh anything, buddy. You know, that's the thing. They don't need a lot of downforce because they don't weigh.
It's just two massive motorbikes smashed together.
That's it. With Dean Sinkovich here trying to put some pressure on John Henry, so with Locked On Racing ahead of him, so Dean having a pretty good run. Again, has shown some good pace, I think,
yes.
in the mid-pack there. I think, you know, our front runners, Scotty, Matty, and David have sort of shown that they're probably about a second faster than these boys. But that doesn't mean that you can't get great racing all up and down the grid because, you know, honestly, I'm not one of those fast guys, mate. I'm all about these battles, and this is what we want to see. He's going to make a move up the inside here. He's got it done. He's had to sort of make sure he got out of it. He's going to look to try and get a nice sweeping run here and see if he can get John going up into turn 4, I think it is.
Tell you what, Dean's got some serious pace around here, man. He's put some serious pressure on J-Mac right here. Oh,
John's
I'm really impressed right here. Oh, he's pushed him out, as I was saying earlier. As I was saying earlier on that hairpin, if you take it, if you miss your braking point slightly, if you're under pressure, you go out to the outside, and then all of a sudden you're back onto the inside. And you've kind of missed your spot, but he misses it on exit. Maybe that was a bit of respect because they worked together / raced together heats. So you know.
Okay, so Tyson making his way up through the field after serving his drive-through. Now going past Leon Williams. Again, thanks to DSL. Have a look, he's just swept right up the inside. Yeah, I'd say that Leon has... Yeah, he's just got out of that, broke a little bit earlier, so does Tyson a bit more confident under brakes and able to get the pass done nice and easy.
And he was a surprise right at the end, wasn't he? And he just jumped in right at the end, but we know he's got pace and all that stuff. But I think definitely one of those standouts for me is definitely Nathan Verney. Nathan Verney's got a real improvement in consistency. He's always had some pace, but his consistency's got a lot better.
Look, again, I think, you know, these are it's very easy to overdrive the car. So you don't have to be a guy that's, you know, definitely slower than the fast runners to get caught mid-pack. It's so easy just to have a little half spin and suddenly throw yourself back. And although the racing seems to have sort of spread out nicely around the track at the moment, a mistake in one of these cars, you're not losing tenths of seconds. You're losing seconds or tens of seconds.
Yeah, and that's a perfect example, as we saw on screen before, was David Unger. That's a perfect example. You know, he's been driving these for 10 years, makes one little mistake and a little bit of an incident, and then he's down.
Dave's mistake.
Well down.
Dave was quite unlucky there. He certainly didn't make any mistake there when a car comes flying over the grass and hits you.
In the field. I didn't mean a mistake.
Wow, it's unlucky, but I suppose it does happen. Again, just having a look at this battle between Dean Sinkovich and
I reckon Dean's
John McHenry at the moment.
jump in.
Well,
Sorry to interrupt. But yeah,
John is held, is driving quite well at the moment, and he's holding his position. He's certainly entitled to drive his lines, and you know, Dean's the one that's got to find something to get past him. Can he get on the gas here a bit better, get a better exit? Looks like John's got on the power pretty good there. Dean moving around behind him, trying to. There's a little bit of a toe there, but I don't think it's significant enough. But a nice straight line. Dean, look at Jack has withstood the battle. Trevor, we can jump straight to the front and have a look and see what the boys up front are thinking. Having a look, and it's Scotty. Now that's what's that, a pink camo? That's an interesting colour scheme he's got going there. Definitely.
I love it, man.
It's a manly man to run around in a.
I love it.
It was a manly man to run around in a pink car, and I think it says "Wash Me" on the side of it there too. So poking a bit of fun at himself, Scotty. So, but it's great to have you, buddy.
Awesome, man. A real man drives a pink car. That's what I say. Yeah, baby. my colours have always been pink and black, so that's why I say that. And everybody always gives me shit about it, but I don't care. I'm happy with my masculine.
So at the moment, Scotty's been able to pull it out to about a 6-second lead over Matty Jones, but I can see Matty just probably took half a second back out of him in that last lap. But so far, a supreme drive from these two guys. It's a further 14 seconds back to Michael Skurlock in third position.
I reckon Michael Skurlock is one to watch, I think. He's been very consistent and very, very clean the whole way. He's just taking
a great start. A great start tonight. 2 positions off the line and into turn 1, and he's just benefited from what happened to David and also to Steve as well. Steve Brown. I think Steve has actually left the service, so he got punted well back there. Perhaps the car damaged from another spin. But we'll see you next week, Steve. You get back amongst the action, buddy.
What do you reckon? So, Matty Jones, what, 6.1 seconds interval? He's got
David Unger
26 laps. You reckon they'll be able to bridge the gap, or you reckon it's home and hosed for...
Look, at the moment, Scotty Callahan and Matty Jones are both still lapping in the 16s. Michael Skurlock and Nathan Verney are lapping in 17s. Yeah, and then we've got Steve Callahan, John McHenry, and a few of the boys lapping in the 18s and 19s. Again, I think it's a 2-horse race. But it just seems that when Matty pushes a little bit, then Scott just replies with another 16-1 there. So again, down at that lap record iRacing pace. So definitely the tyres have got plenty of life, and we're 21 laps into this race. So it doesn't look like letting up at the moment, those two front runners.
But look at Dave Unger's pace behind him. I know he's a lap down, etc., but still, Dave Unger's pace is pretty impressive behind him. Not that Michael Skurlock has to worry about it at all, but
it's one of those hard situations that when a fast guy gets, has an incident, gets thrown back and is a lap down, but he's faster than the guys that are ahead of him, and when it happens and you're in that position, you're not going to make a dive or anything like that because you're not battling with this guy, but he's holding you up, so
exactly
sometimes
right.
you will see that the slower driver will work that out and maybe just get out of it and let the quick guy through. But he doesn't have to because he's entitled to hold on to his position. Yep. So, it's a hard position sometimes, and it was no fault of David. He was just ended up on the worst, the end of an accident that, took him out of P2. So,
but sometimes being respectful, like being Dave Unger and being the respectful guy, like I know I'm a lap down on the rest of it, but he's potentially holding him up a lot for him to get past and the rest of it. Then that will help.
Unless we have a safety car,
them get back up as well.
Well, unless we have a safety car, David's halfway through this race and probably unlikely to finish much higher than his current position. But again, I mean, it doesn't mean that he's not still out there a lap down and he's still doing laps in the car. So he just loves driving it. You know, we said it's his favourite car in iRacing. He's been driving it for 10 years, and you know, so even with the unfortunate nature of the events that happened to him, he still wants to spend time in the car. So it's great to see.
He's sitting there just like loving me in the slipstream again, and just he's sitting like he's absolutely loving driving that car right now. And I'm sure if we talk to
Well, it would be interesting to see if he had enough, got enough fuel out of that. He'd burn enough out of the car to be able to put enough in it to get to the end. Because if that's the case, then that helps him get at least half that lap back. And a safety car suddenly, you know, he could find himself back in it. Strangest thing to happen in the racing world. Think back to Larry Perkins, you know, was it Larry Perkins and Russell Ingall a lap down and managed to win the Bathurst 1000. So, you know, these things do happen.
One thing I've just noticed as well is that Nathan Verney, because he doesn't have that far behind this car here as well, so he might be able to actually jump on the back of this little slipstream, even though there's a car that's a lap down. Might actually bridge the gap here, and if Nathan Verney's here in the next 3 laps fast enough, he might be able to jump on the back of this train here.
He has been a little bit quicker than Michael the last few laps. We're sort of talking about half a second to a second a lap quicker the last few laps. So that is bridging the gap. Nathan has, was that 5.5 seconds to get back up to Michael. Though, as you said, there is David in between him there. But as we know that David's a pretty
but
clean
David's on the
driver,
train,
he's not going to get involved in it. Yeah, he's not going to get involved in any battle.
But if he can jump on the back of David, that's all I'm trying to say, is that if he can bridge the gap to the back of David, then he can jump on the back of that train, even though it's not kind of his train to be part of, and it might help him slingshot into the front of and get that next battle.
We've only just ticked over halfway of this race, so we've still got another 23 laps to go. But again, Matty Jones has managed to get the gap under 6 seconds now, with a 16.3 last lap compared to Scotty's 17.1. But again, we've seen that Scott has bounced back the next lap and taken it back again. So just we're only seeing maybe slight mistakes that are, you know, the variance in the lap times we're seeing from the front 2 cars at the moment.
Yeah, such an awesome track. It's good to see we haven't had as many issues or as many brain farts from people as I thought we would. Actually, I thought there would have been. I would have thought we'd have a few more safety cars. So yeah.
Well, look, you know, it's possible that Racing Control could have brought it out again for that second incident, but chose not to. And so far, you know, these cars are very much a car of confidence. So the more laps you do, then the better you feel driving it, the better the car feels, you know, to you, and the more confidence. It's just the problem then becomes that you've got to just rein yourself in a little, because if you push that little bit further, perhaps go over the edge of your control, and doesn't take much to stuff it all up for you. So
yeah,
we can see that.
It's a
Scotty
great car to give you too much confidence, isn't it?
We just saw Scotty Callahan there, just I think going back into the 16s again and just taking that gap back out to 6 seconds again. So he's definitely probably managing it with Matty at the moment. Nathan Verney now only 4 seconds behind Michael Skurlock, so he is continuing to take time out of Michael there and getting up on the back. We've got Stephen Callahan here running in P5 at the moment, a further 11 seconds back from Nathan Verney. So just in a bit of clean air himself now, can get down to the job of driving this car as quick as he possibly can.
Absolute awesome race so far. It's just
Yeah, we haven't
Stevie
seen a
Kelly.
lot of battles on track, but we're seeing the pace, and again seeing that the guys are. You can see how committed the driver has to be to really throw it in, to get the most out of this car. And
Yeah, that was the words I was trying to find there, right there, Cowie. Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Thank you for lifting off
It's all right,
where I was trying to take on. The Callahans,
And it
have we
looks
worked
like
out
that-
whether the Callahans are brothers or not yet? Oh, we haven't actually had a
I don't think
chat with either of them, have we?
Well, we didn't get to speak to Scott after his round 1 victory. I think there was something he didn't have the invite to the Discord League, or he didn't get it, didn't accept it when it was shared with him earlier. So, but I think we've got him there ready to jump on for tonight if he does finish in his current position. But
We didn't
as
see
we said
Scotty
before,
last week, did we? We saw Steve, but
race-
we didn't see Scotty.
Well, the race is not over yet. Yes, we had Scotty was away last week,
Oh,
so
wow.
he was. But we've. I think that we should have him on board tonight. Let's hope so. Anyway, just having a look at Dean Sinkovich here, running in P6 at the moment. Dean
Four
has.
spots up.
He pitted on lap 2 to deal with that incident with Tyson. Again, we don't know if that was going to be enough for him to be able to get to the end. I don't know the fuel saving numbers if it's even possible, because it seemed that in the last couple of rounds at least there was almost no chance of running from the start to the end without putting some fuel in the car.
They've definitely set it up to be a splash and dash. You have to do the splash, at least the splash, I think.
Depending on lap 2, maybe didn't burn enough out of the car to be able to get enough fuel in to get to the end. So that way may well mean he's going to pit again. Looks like we've got Michael Skurlock, who has gone into the pit lane as well now. And it's just Tyson looking to make a move up the inside of Leon, just putting a lap on Leon. Oh, that was on Stephen. I think there's Leon in front of him. Looks like Leon's getting out of the way to let Tyson through. Trying to recover. At the moment, Tyson just has Scott Callahan, the leader, in front of him at the moment. So technically a lap down, but he's done pretty well here to not let them disappear too far off into the distance. Actually starting to put in some good times, running in those 1:18 flats, and I think we've seen Tyson in the 17s, but he's just getting more used to the car and starting to work out what lines work around Barber Motorsport in the V8 Radical.
Yeah, and Tyson consistently all he's done is just on consistent laps and it's
coming into
taking
the
places,
pits
but
now,
especially with Dean Sinkovich in front of him as well, has just done exactly the same thing, which has been absolutely awesome to see.
We are coming up to, this is lap 29 we're now on. These guys, Tyson in P7 now, because I think a few of the guys in front of him, John McHenry, John has pitted. Dean has not pitted yet. Michael Skurlock has pitted on lap 27, and he's come out in 5th position. So that's Nathan Burney and Stephen Callahan in P4 at the moment. Looks like Matty Jones is in the pits now, so that briefly brings Nathan Burney up into P2.
Oh, and beautiful, but he's still out on it. Still out smashing those tires. But we know Nathan Burney has come into some really good, consistent race pace so far. So
Yeah, look,
interesting to see how quick he's.
I think he's got good
next lap
pace.
is.
I think he's had good pace, buddy. It's just been, he's had a couple of moments, and as we said before, when you're trying to drive the car fast, it's very easy to give it that little bit too much, and it goes on you. And it seems that the last couple of rounds, Nathan has sort of been making up for his mistakes with a great drive, sort of for the second half of the race. But at this point in time, finds himself in P2, and starting to take the fight to the guys up front.
Come on, Nathan Burney. And as we saw at the start of at the first season as well, he just had some bad luck, man. He had a lot of places where he just qualified kind of
this is
mid-range kind of.
this is the list for position here, buddy. So Steven Sinkovich going up the inside of Leon Williams there, getting the job done at T5, I think it is, or I keep up to count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4 if you count the little kick. Yes, that'd be T5. Yeah, if you count that little kink, and I think Barber does count that little kink as a corner. But you can see, yes, how the car's flowing down through the chicane there and really trying to make sure you get on the gas. Use as much curb as you can there so that you can carry as much speed through. Same thing here, you were trying to get the car over left so you can use a heap of curb there and carry speed over the hill. See the car wanting to wash out on him, but he's done well to hold onto that and to hold onto the speed as well.
Yeah, and it perfectly illustrates how bumpy this track, a lot of this track is, and how it might seem like simple corners as you come over the hill, and how it undulates and then drops back down the hill to the right-hander, and then back, back around over the top of the hill. Might seem pretty simple, but the challenges come in how bumpy some of the, how unpredictable some of those bumps are.
That corner there, as you come over the hill there, the car has a tendency to get really light, so you've got to be very careful with your throttle application as you come over the hill there. Otherwise, the car will wash out and slide and you'll be gone. And it doesn't 100%. Take much. If you lose the rear of these cars, they can be difficult to hang on to it. So you can really test your skills to try and drive these cars on the edge of the grip. But they are very rewarding if you manage to pull it off.
Yeah, and use all of the track. If you can use all of the track on these things, that's kind of seems the way to balance it. Almost, it's kind of like if you can put your balls to the wall in these cars, then you can be faster with them. And that's
the key to being quick in any car, is to use every ounce of track they let you use. We know there's probably a couple of places here where a sneaky little off track may not cost you a slowdown, but I know the fast chicanes over the back second half of the lap, if you jump them too much, you're going to get a slowdown, and that's going to hurt you big time.
Yeah. Or you come out.
So Scott Callahan is continuing to motor along, not even considering a pit stop at the moment, and he is still running in the 16.5 last lap. So his pace unaffected. As the fuel comes out of it, the tyres seem to be holding out well at the moment.
He can't have that much fuel left.
At the moment, he has a 44-second gap back to Matty Jones. And looking at the SDK and looking at the pit lane times, we're talking the quickest guys are getting in and out in the mid 50-second range. So I suppose, apart from the guys that have dealt with damage, so the guys that are putting on fuel, we're looking at 56, a minute 5 for some of the cars. So okay, so here it is. Scotty Callahan is going into the pits, so we'll stay on board with Matty Jones and see how close he can get. Did a 16.6 last lap. I think Scott did a 16.5 on the lap before his in lap, so we'll have to see if Matty can bridge the gap. Scott has crossed the line, but I'd say his pit bay is the other side of the start-finish line. We've got Matty coming into the last few corners, coming around, getting ready to start his lap. I can't see Scott Callahan coming out of the pits now.
Matty Jones going around again.
There he is, and it looks like he's just coming out ahead. Looks like he's going to retain P1. Matty Jones coming through, though Matty has been able to at least get some time out of that undercut strategy. The gap is now down to 2.4 seconds, and he'll be hoping to bridge this quickly as Scotty gets those tyres back up to temp. Although we know he wouldn't have changed the tyres. They would have cooled down a little, so...
Yeah, but Matty Jones is going to be up to temp. He's quicker than Scotty is, so...
Well,
I reckon Matty might be able to bring a bit of better heat to Scotty here, maybe.
Well, this is the time. I'd say Matty's he's going to be putting out his best laps now and trying to get close enough to maybe make a strike. It's inside 2 seconds now, the gap.
So... Give us a... give us a push for first position on the podium.
Some
Let's go.
pick
Top
up in,
spot.
or some lap traffic up in front here too, so that may well play into Matty's hands.
Especially around
my
Barber. We
teammate-
always know that traffic around Barber always pushes up the field. Hey.
I'm going to cheer for my teammate here in Performance Sim Racing and see how he goes, but I'd say that Dean's just going to get out of the way here and let the boys through. No, he's retaining his spot. They're not quite close enough to force him to move offline just yet.
And there's not
But you can
that
see
many
now Matty's got the gap down to under a second. There you can see Dean getting out of the way, letting Matty through as well.
Yeah, being respectful.
But just trying to stave off Tyson, who he's actually battling with there. And Tyson, can he take advantage of the situation? Oh, he's gone deep there, but so has Dean. And Dean's done well to hang on to that. A nice strategic move, letting the leaders through and not losing his own position. That's always the risk in those situations.
Trying to push. He very successfully pushed Tyson to the outside on the exit of the corner, and it's exactly what you want to do. You want to make him think you're going there, but don't go there and hold your line, and then he goes there. So that's trying to hold the position there, but obviously Tyson's absolutely locked onto the back of Dean here at the moment, and we'll see if Tyson can get him. But Dean seems pretty. He looks like he loves this track. It looks like he likes this track, and he's got the tires under this car at the moment. So we'll see. There's not many places to pass in this track, so he's got a good exit on. Oh, is he going to be able to get him on the outside? Oh, he's pushed him wide. Dean's pushed him wide. Oh no, but he's taking the inside here. Tyson taking that very convincingly.
Yeah, done it.
Oh,
that's what's happened to Dean. He's gone off the track, I think. Yeah.
Oh, Dean.
Maybe we can have a look and see what happened there.
Okay, we just have a message on Facebook.
Well, we saw what happened to Tyson passing there, but yeah. Oh, here we go, the move. Tyson going, oh, Dean's got it. Oh no, the car's just rotated. Tried to carry speed through. That's unfortunate. He was having a good battle there. I'm sure he was enjoying it as much as Tyson was.
Yeah, he was just trying to stay out of the way without trying to lose grip in his tyres, but it just seems like he's gone out a touch too wide. We're just at comment on Facebook. Can we have a look at P1 and 2? But we are having a look at P1 and 2, so we're already sorted. Sweet as. Forgive my latency.
She'll be just letting us know that was an old message. So that's all good, but it's been great to bring these pictures to you guys again. SRW is proud to have DSL Welding Services as our major sponsor. Also the Promo Department, our safety car sponsor, and Dragonrc as well. Great to have all of those guys on board. We would love to be able to run these series on a shoestring budget, but they does take up people's time and cost money. We and sponsorship's a big part of allowing us to get out there and have some fun and bring these races to you guys.
Yeah, and so much support and so much love for all our sponsors and everybody else out there. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Make sure you hit us live, and make sure you see we're live 6 nights a week. Other than Saturdays, every other night we're live, guys, with different series. Tuesday night is our NAS trucks. Monday night is our NAS trucks. Tuesday night, obviously, Tuesday night tonight is our Radical SR8s. On Wednesday night, we have our F3s. We have our Formula 3 racing on Wednesday night. So I'll be producing with our awesome commentators tomorrow night. And then Thursday is our Porsches. Friday is our Rallycross. Sunday is our V8 Super Show. Make sure I've intentionally taken the night off on Sunday nights just so I can watch the V8 Super Show, because that's how much I love it. So make sure you guys jump on that as well. It's amazing.
Matty Jones getting the gap into under a second here. We can see Scott has got his tyres up the door. Matty going wide there, taking every ounce of the track and maybe a little bit more to try and close the gap to Scotty Callahan. I'm sure Matty realises that now's the time to strike. He needs to get this move done, and good luck to him out there. Go team.
Yeah, how good is it, man? He's got the distance on it. It's definitely pit strats definitely going into it tonight, and this is what we've been waiting for. We know that Barber's one of those spots that you can make up quite a few seconds, if not quite a few tenths, pretty easily.
Well, you can see, you know, Matty's now starting to, he's just found a couple of tenths the last couple of laps and has now got the gap back out to 1.2. So both these boys are sort of firing shots at each other and retaliating. So it's great to see. Scotty doing his best to try and get on the back. Matty trying to do his best to get on the back of Scotty Callahan here. And Scott doing his best to make sure he stays as far back as possible. But it's not over yet. We have 9 laps? 8 laps remaining of this race. And P1 is still up for grabs. You can see Leon Williams just getting out of the road there. Thanks for that, William. Don't want to mess up this great battle we've got going for first position here. Just having a look at the gap, so that looks like Matty maybe just washed out a little bit on that corner. Has lost another couple of tenths to Scott there, and that's all it takes. And the problem is Matty be pushing right on the edge of his limit, trying to bridge that gap, and that's when you're at that risk of making that tiny little mistake that costs you time.
Yeah, and it's easy to make a mistake around here as well, especially in these cars. But around here, like as the undulations, as you come over through here, over through the down changes, if you don't have that blip right, if you don't have the angle right or that line right, man, it can send the car into some really, really strange spots. So
these guys are doing 16.2s, buddy. They're the ones that are getting everything right at the moment to do those times. Yeah.
Like that's insane. Like these guys,
they're not making mistakes, man. If we're like we don't call them mistakes, but you know, then we're not alien pace.
Yeah,
you know?
like
and
these guys are like consistently running mid to early 116s. Like what the hell, man? The world record pace is 116.1. God damn it, these guys that are running it just like mid-race pace?
Looks like something might have happened to Matty there. He's just dropped another second to Scott on that last lap, so I don't know if he made a little mistake there. Perhaps, no, I don't think he got caught up in any traffic at the moment. Michael Skurlock with an 8-second lead over Nathan Verney, so I think we said that gap was at about 4 seconds before the pit stops.
Yeah, it was.
So Michael's come out of them pretty good.
Yeah.
He did hit 5 laps earlier than Nathan, so... But again, I doubted that any of these guys have done any tyre changes. Yeah, is that Nathan just locking up a little bit there?
Yeah, that's always a bit rough, but...
well, as we've said, buddy, you know, when you're trying to chase someone down, you're pushing pretty hard, and
as we've said,
the mistakes can come out, and they have to be little ones like that.
They lower you into a false security as well. You get a bit cocky in these things, and you're like, "Yeah, I got this," and you're like, "No, I don't got this. Shit, help me!" And if you can catch it, you're good.
I think it's a car of incremental sends. So you send it a little bit first corner, then you send it a bit harder the next time, and eventually you send it too hard and spin it. But Tyson here having a good run, getting involved in an incident with Dean earlier on in the race and serving his penalty, but he now got himself up into 6th position. He is a lap down at the moment, but the lead car on that lap down, so having a pretty good race at the moment.
A great race from all of them, man. Tyson McAvoy up 5 positions. I've been really, really impressed with Dean Sikovich. He's up in that 7th position.
Yep, Dean's had a great race.
Nathan Verney as well, and Michael Skurlock. I think, for me, Michael Skurlock is one of those, like, kind of silent assassins, it seems. He's not put a foot wrong the whole race.
He
It's
got
just kind of
got the most of the majority of his work done right at the start of at the start of the race, and yeah, as you're right, he hasn't put a foot wrong so far. Doesn't seem to quite have the pace of Matty and Scott ahead of him, but
sometimes you don't need the pace. Sometimes
well, when that gap is there.
Right?
You know, he's probably realised that he's not battling with Matty and Scott unless one of them makes a big mistake. He's battling with Nathan and Stephen and the boys behind him. So it's all about, you know, running your pace and staying nice and consistent, keeping the car on the road. We are inside the last 5 laps remaining. So, again...
and Dave Unger, how many spots has he made back up? So he dropped down to 10th?
14th. He dropped right back down to last, so he's back up to P8, David, so trying to make the best of his race and recover. And can't see how far behind. 20 seconds behind Dean. So lapping probably half a second or so quicker than a couple of the guys in front of him. But there's not enough laps there, so I'd say we may be looking at 8th position, the best that Dave can salvage from tonight's race. But good to see him get back out there and not give it up. And as we said before, he loves driving these cars.
Any early picks for a driver of the day?
Well, at the moment, our 2 leaders are having a blast out there. Scott Callahan has been flawless from start to finish. I think... you know, just purely based on positions, Tyson's up 5 positions, but I don't think we could give a driver of the day award to someone that had a little indiscretion and got penalised for it. So I would say probably Scotty's, although he's already going to be in the podium chat if things remain as they are. I'd say it's been a pretty flawless drive from him. He's managed to manage the attack there that Matty did in the middle of that race following the pit stops. And Matty was throwing everything at that, and Scott's seen him off, and
he broke
perhaps
world record pace in qualifying. So
well, that's right, you know. So yeah, he's had a and in the race, that's right. Shibby did break the record in the race as well. So you know, and again, we're talking about this is a fixed setup series too. So I'm sure these boys would be even faster in a setup that they designed and worked on themselves. So. One of the things, a fixed setup does sort of bring the field together. Everyone's got a race on the same setup. I know there's lots of people that brake differently, apply accelerator differently, maybe even have some of the more fancier pedals where you can set in sort of exponential curves, you know, where you can change the way, the nature of the braking and acceleration. So it does mean that sometimes setup can be good for one person and not good for another. But,
yeah,
you know... I think the cream of the crop, the fast guys in iRacing, doesn't matter. You put them in a brick with wheels and they'd find a way to, you know, lap 3 seconds a lap faster than you in it.
Yeah, I like that. Brick with wheels. I can drive anything. I can drive a brick. What do you mean I can drive a brick? Just put some wheels in it. I can drive it.
That's it.
And it's so true. Yeah, you look at these guys like Scotty. Yeah, you look at Matty Jones. You look at
it's one of the things.
Like Tyson started in 14th place. And, you know, and he's just like, oh, no, I'll just come in at the last minute and I'll just come up and he's just lapped and lapped and lapped, you know, and, you know, that's... I'd love to get there one day, but, you know, here we go into the second last lap. We should be getting a white flag soon.
Looks like Leon's starting to find his groove out there as well, so... And he's been lapping in the sort of mid-18s at the moment, so definitely lapping the same pace of the boys around him. John McHenry here has pitted a lot later than Leon, so Leon pitting on lap 19, which was fairly early, and John's held out to lap 36. But again, in the V8 supercars, you probably wouldn't see that disparity because the tyres are very important. You're going to take those tyres because you can put in fuel at the same time, whereas with the Radicals, because the tyres take 2 or 3 laps to get up to temperature, it's just not worth it. That undercut and change tyres, you're going to be struggling for 3 laps and be 2 or 3 seconds off the pace.
But even in these things, when you get it out of the pits, on the same tyres, it'll still take you 2 laps to get it back to, like, comfortable driving driving.
Well, we saw there that
for me anyway.
well,
I
yeah,
don't know whether that's just me.
we
But
saw Matty Jones sort of launch that attack on Scotty right on the, coming out of the pits. So when Scotty's tyres were a bit colder, not up to temp, that's when he launched his attack. You can see now that I think Matty's maybe just dialed it back a little, or he's chewed a bit too much out of those tyres. Because now we're seeing Scott Callahan with a 16.061 on the last lap again.
Oh, he just beat 4/100ths. He just beat the world record qualifying time in these cars. World record by 4/100ths. Are you?
Well, he's definitely
absolutely insane.
driving this car.
Insane.
And again, I mean, we've talked about it before.
Space as well, sorry.
Yeah, 16.1 or just under a 16.1 that lap round. So we're getting near the end of the race here. With only, well, this is the white flag. Barney, the flag man, has waved the white flag. So this is the last lap. And Scott is pushing as hard as he was on lap 1. I think Matty Jones. Oh, he's gone a bit deep there.
Yeah, he's got plenty. He's plenty. He's good.
But
commentators, it was. Hey, we're just talking him up too much. He doesn't really have to worry. He just broke like second penultimate lap. He just
well, that's the
penultimate
mistake.
lap. He basically just beat.
That might have been the mistake that Matty was looking for, but perhaps Matty just backed off a little bit there at the end. But again, I think that Scotty showed that he was supreme under pressure. That was probably more of a wasn't sure what that back marker was doing. We'll have to ask him if we can get him in the chat for the rundown after tonight's race. He's coming around to the last couple of corners now. Our race 3 winner about to cross the start-finish line. Scott Callahan with a supreme drive, leading the way from lap 1, leading every lap of the race, and has done it supremely. Matty Jones finishing 3.4 seconds behind him, thanks to Scott's little indiscretion at the hairpin there. And we're going to be waiting a while for Michael Skurlock to come across the line. Nathan Burney only 5 seconds back. So
I don't
think he's going to be close enough to really mount anything here. But not giving up. Michael Skurlock.
One thing I really loved actually was Scotty Callahan and Matty Jones are really pushing it, and Michael Skurlock and Nathan Benny were just very consistent laps.
That was a great drive from Michael.
I think it really just showed a lot from both. From
P3,
the top 4.
P3 in this field is a pretty good result. He certainly benefited from what happened to David. It's unfortunate that David got caught out there by Steve, I think it was. So we got Nathan Burney crossing in 4th, Stephen Callahan about to come across the line in 5th position, and I think the rest of the cars are a lap down, so that may well be all of the cars finished. We've got Tyson coming around, yeah, but a fairly eventful race tonight. Not a lot of incidents apart from the start there, but just watching those guys up front, supreme pace, and just showing it all. I'll pass it over to you, Todd, if you want to read out the finishing positions, and I'll go and see if I can grab a few of the boys into the chat and go from there.
Sounds awesome to me, man. Scotty Callahan with an absolutely dominant drive tonight. He, with his penultimate lap, actually broke the world record of qualifying laps in these cars for iRacing, which is absolutely insane. In his qualifying lap, he actually did a 15 point, what was it, 8.7? 8.76, I think it was, if I remember that correctly. Absolutely incredible. So a dominant drive from him. Absolutely amazing. And Matty Jones with a great drive just to be able to bridge that gap. And he had a great strat. Brilliant drive. And they were both pushing. So what I was really impressed with tonight was Michael Skurlock and Nathan Verney. Their consistent laps was absolutely amazing. And that's how they really made their way up through the field. And they kept their positions through the way. There's Stephen Callahan in position 5 there, sorry. Tyson McAvoy in 6th there. Tyson McAvoy up there, 5 positions there. With a great, just late entry there into qualifying. And a great performance. Dean Sinkovich with even better performance there. Really, really consistent. We've seen some really consistent performance from Dean Sinkovich from the end of last season to the start of this season and through the last 2 rounds into round 3. He's had absolutely awesome rounds and shows some really good pace and some really good consistency, and that's what's really showing some really good benefits for him. Dave Unger with got caught up in a bit of bad luck there earlier on, but he made himself back up a few positions. Leon Williams in 9th, Jay Mack in 10th. We got Steven Sinkovich in 11th, Greg Johnson in 12th, Steve Brown in 13th, Kellen Hodgkinson in 14th. And the promo department, big shout out to promo department and Racing Control for Peter Baxter.
I don't know why my name keeps coming up there as well. So I'm supposed to be watching. Maybe I joined into race and didn't join in to watch. All right, we're going to bring down our podium. Let's see if we can have a chat to these boys. I've brought all 3 of you in our podium for tonight. Scott, great race, buddy. Got a good start and we're able to run away with it.
Yeah, she was a bit of fun. I like Barber, actually. It's I'm always quick around here for some reason. I love it.
Well, we could tell, buddy, because I don't know if you know, but several of the laps you did in the race and in the quali we think might be under the world record time for Barber in a V8 Radical as far as ice racing is concerned.
Well,
anyway, so look it up. Matty knows all about that because he did it at Laguna Seca. Sorry, did I say Laguna Seca twice? Barber. This one's Barber for Scotty, and Matty did it at Laguna too. So you boys have shown some great pace. When you come out of the pits there, Scotty, Matty was breathing down your neck. Did you take a lap or 2 to get the tyres back up to temp?
Yeah, I changed the tyres, so plus I was in the tows, so I was just taking it easy. And yeah, let Matty catch up and get a bit of a sniff, but and then I just put the hammer down.
I saw that, and then at the end of the last lap there, was that just a bit apprehensive around a back marker there, buddy? You locked it up at the end of the...
I was on a hot lap, and I was on green. I was on green deltas going into there, and I just pushed it a little bit hard. So once I locked up, I thought I'll let Stephen back by so I don't lap him.
Oh, awesome, mate. Well, it was a great drive from yourself there. Matty Jones, mate, you tried hard when he come out of the pits there, buddy. Just couldn't get close enough.
No, so I had a bit of a bungle. I actually underfueled the car, so I definitely had the pace there to go with Scott at the end. But with about 5 or 6 laps to go, I realised I was about half a lap short, so I had to back out and make sure I got home. So.
Oh no, because I know talking to you last week and I was asking you, and I'll probably ask the same question of you, Scotty, too, that, you know, when you're out in front and you've got a decent lead, you don't want to, you sort of want to take it a little bit easier, but if you don't want to take it too easy that you make a little mistake. And we saw there, Scotty, you were pushing those, I think your last 2 or 3 laps before the lock-up, you were doing 16 flats. So.
Yeah, I was pushing hard. I thought, oh, bugger it. But when I'm in front, even at Laguna, I mean, I was hot lapping. I was forgetting I was in a race half the time. Yep. And you just push too hard and make little mistakes. I think I flew off the track about 3 or 4 times at Laguna. Luckily, I didn't do it here. Just that one lock-up, that was about it for me.
So we missed you last week, buddy. Was it a real life or was it not a fan of Coda?
No, I don't have it under my Smurf and I wasn't going to buy it because I don't like it, quite honestly. So, yeah, no, I gave it a miss.
Nah, fair enough.
Why don't you tell
buddy.
us what you really think, eh?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I just don't like this car that's set up around there. I hate it, quite honestly.
We'll give you a chance now to spruik any sponsors you'd like to mention. We've noticed that you've got yourself down as a privateer in the SDK, but are you and Stephen running in a team?
No, I just put that, Cal's my nickname, so I just put that down when I signed up.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, no, I'm not in any team. I just run around in the Radical and have a bit of fun.
Well, you certainly had some pace tonight, buddy, and it's great to see you back. We were worried we'd lost you there because I know even though you got the better of Matty tonight, and I think you got the better of him at Laguna, I'm sure he's keen to see you out there on the grid, Matty.
Yeah, for sure. It's good to have someone to race with. I ran away with a minute in the bank last week, so yeah, it was pretty boring last week. So it was a good race. Good race.
Even if I raced last week, mate, you still would have been a minute ahead.
I just made too many little mistakes added up tonight, unfortunately. But
I might actually start from the back next week at Sebring.
Well, I think again,
have a bit of fun from the back, reverse grid.
Yeah. It looked like you had to push hard, Matty, to stay with Scott. So, I mean, when you're driving right on the edge there, that's when those tiny little mistakes will come, and they don't have to be big ones to cost you.
Yeah, that's it. Like Scott was saying, he's not a big fan of Coda. I'm certainly not a big fan of Barber, so it's just one of those tracks that just don't click for me. So, we'll be back next week. And
Awesome, buddy. Well, I know that you've got some sponsors in a great team you're a part of, so I'll let you read them out, and then we'll have a chat to Nick.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to talk to me either, mate, to be honest.
Calm down, Kelly.
That's it. So I'd like to thank sponsors: West End Motor Group, Parramatta Isuzu Ute, Too Easy Finance, Track Racer, Cowie Music, Night Rider Designs, and the Talk to Me Bone Men's Health Initiative.
Yes, as you'll certainly learn, boys, if you hang around here long enough, I am completely shameless. So I'm happy for those plugs to go out. So Mick, P3, buddy, pretty good drive there, mate. You had a bit of pressure from Nathan at the end there, but you were just able to maintain the gap.
Yeah, mate, yeah. I mean, I'm just here to fill the grid, mate. You know what I mean? Like, I came in thinking that I might, be all right in these. Like, I used to like driving them all the time. But these guys up front, man, consistency and stuff, like I couldn't even dream of getting a 15 around there. So, well done to Scott for that. You got a few of them, I think.
Well, look, mate, I think, I'm very much an average sim racer myself, and it's all about the battles for me. So we saw you had a great jump off the line, were able to grab a couple of spots into T1, mate. Must have been pretty happy with that one.
Yeah, I just don't rev it, mate. I hear everyone else revving the crap out of the cars, and I just let it roll off, mate, you know what I mean? Because I've had too many moments in other cars where the thing just lights up and you embarrass yourself, so I just, these days I just always do that. It's just safer and everything.
They seem to be a car that gain that it's easy to overdrive them. So,
Yeah, I'm doing something wrong somewhere. I'm just got to take the dress off, I think, for next week.
Well, buddy, we can see you're with the BMX Bandits. So have you got any sponsors you want to do a quick shout out to?
Just the BMX Bandits, mate, and Locked On Podcast, or Locked On Lads. Give them a shout out. And thanks to you boys for putting it on. And congrats for Scott and Matt, first and second. And then me, distant third.
All right, so quickly back to Scotty and Matt. You boys going to be a bit of a rivalry. What track have we got next week? Let's have a quick look and see what next week's track is.
Sebring.
It is Sebring. So is that a favourite of either of the two of you?
I like Sebring too. Oh, well, I don't know whether I like it, but I'm quick there, so you have to like it if you're quick. But yeah, it's very hard to overtake there. Same here. Very hard to overtake here. Same with Laguna too. So yeah, it's very hard to overtake on a lot of these tracks.
Yeah, I enjoy Sebring too, to be honest.
Good stuff, Mick. So maybe we might see you up there. So it was a bit unfortunate what happened to Dave Unger earlier in the race, and
yeah, I'll have to go back and watch that. He just disappeared. He went off the track, did he?
Yeah, that happened right in front of me. That
Stephen sort of locked up, I think, and crossed the corner, and Dave was in the path, unfortunately. So
right.
he was showing some good pace and might have been able to make it a three-way battle with you and Matty. But fortunately, we'll have to wait to see next week to see how Dave goes.
Yeah, well, I've got to thank Dave, actually. He was the one that told me about this league.
Oh, awesome. Well, I know he loves these cars, so you know, it's great to have as many of you boys on board as we can because it's,
Yeah.
you know, the
Especially
more
an
cars
old
we've got
bugger
out there.
like him too.
Oh, that's it, mate.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking over the
Absolutely.
hill myself next year, I think. So, but again, a fantastic drive from you tonight, Scott. Led from the front and we're just able to manage things. So, congratulations, buddy. Toddy, you got any quick questions for the boys? Otherwise, we'll bring the broadcast to an end.
No, I think Mr. Skurlock, I think you didn't give yourself enough credit there. I think Nathan Verney and yourself did really well there to just to be able to just do some consistent laps and stay out of the trouble and all the rest of it. You did really well to just stay up through there. So I think you need to give yourself a little bit more credit. I think you might be playing yourself down a little bit so everyone doesn't worry about you so much. So I think the rest of the boys, Matty Jones and Scotty, I think if Mike can put some quick laps together, if he wasn't putting quick laps together tonight, if he can put what he says is quick laps together, you guys might need to worry about him a little bit more. So that's all I have to say.
Oh, that's wound him up. That's got him. He might be sleeping for a week now. I appreciate the kind words there, mate.
Just don't put a target on the car in your next paint job, buddy. That's all you need to worry about. Alrighty, boys. Well, again, it's been a pleasure having you with us, and it's also great having you with us out there in YouTube and Facebook land. So this will bring us to the end of our coverage of round 3 of the SRW Radical Series here on SRW TV. It's been awesome having you with us, so don't forget to subscribe, hit the like and follow button so you don't miss any of the action. On behalf of management and broadcast here at SRW, Chef Toddy on comms, and our producer Nathan Shibby Howard behind the scenes, this is Cowie signing off, saying good night, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time on SRW TV.